Okay, perfect. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and get started. And if you have any questions, you can go ahead and unmute yourselves at any time. And then, yeah, if you have any questions, just feel free to ask. So I'll start. My name is Anna. I started taking piano lessons in second grade and I hated it. I absolutely hated piano lessons. And the only reason I stuck with it is because my best friend was super competitive and she wanted to be better than me. So of course I could not let her win. So I had to practice and practice and practice. And she eventually dropped out of piano lessons. And then I decided I actually liked it. And so I just kept going. And then it became a really big stress reliever for me. I got involved in so many different things just because I knew how to play the piano. So it's been a really cool life lesson. It's something that I'll have my entire life. And I love teaching too. I originally went to college to be a teacher, an elementary school teacher. And then I decided that kids break my heart, and mostly because parents break my heart. And so I got out of teaching and I got my degree in accounting. I worked for a construction accountant. I was a construction accountant for a couple years in Sioux Falls, and then I moved here to Marshall and worked at Hoffman and Brobst for a couple months. And then I took my photography business full time and decided I wanted to teach piano lessons too. So kind of a crazy story, but now I'm really doing what I love, and I'm a photographer and soon to be piano teacher again. I taught piano lessons for a couple years in high school. I loved it. I had some really cute kids. And yeah, I'm just excited to jump back in. Okay, so that's enough about me. Let's go through a couple of the things. I just have a list here that I wanted to talk about. And if anybody has questions, jump in. So first things first, I just want to make sure that everyone got the link to their books. You should be able to order them on Amazon. And if you haven't already, or you need the link again, you can just go ahead, send me an email or a text, and I can send that off to you again. I hope that everyone has their books before the start of next week's lessons. So just make sure you get those ordered, and you can look through them, see if you have any questions. And those of you that have two students, so not just one student, make sure they can share books, but make sure they each have a different theory book, because that is something that they write in and has to be kind of specific to each student. So purchase two theory books, everything else can be shared. Also, you're going to need a notebook. So a notebook is something that like I will take their notes down in so they know what pages to practice, and you'll be able to see which progress they've had. I use something called the STAR system. So every lesson, when they come and they practice or they show me what they've practiced for the past week, they can get up to 3 stars. And 3 stars means excellent, 2 stars means good, but there's a lot of work to do. And 1 star means, oh, we didn't practice this week. So once they reach 12 stars, then they get a treat. So that's kind of one way that you can kind of track your progress for your kiddos, and see kind of what their practice schedule was like, if it was enough, to get them 3 stars, or if we need to maybe practice a little bit more this week. Also, you can, if they say, I don't know what to practice, well, open up their notebook, it'll be right there, and you can see exactly what they need to practice that week. So okay, enough about that. If you have any questions about books or notebooks, let me know. Moving on to the keyboards and pianos. If you guys don't have a piano at home, you can totally start on a keyboard. Even just like a cheap, simple one for just to get started is totally fine. If you do plan on investing a little bit of money into it, I would recommend getting a piano. But if you don't have space for a piano, then I would say invest into an 88 key keyboard. And those can become weighted. So it's like the keys are a little bit heavier than a normal keyboard. And that just helps them kind of get the feel of what like a real piano feels like. So it's not so different from practicing at home and then coming to my house and playing on a real piano. So that's just a preference for me, but whatever you have is great. As long as they have something to practice on at home, that's what's important. So if you have any questions, you want me to send you some links to some keyboards, I can do that as well. So also a little bit of piano maintenance. I recommend, they say you should tune a piano every 6 months, but it's expensive. And to be honest, there's not anyone in Marshall that tunes pianos. I learned that the hard way. I had to find someone out of Sioux Falls. So I recommend tuning your piano at least once a year if you do have a piano, just to keep it maintained. And then they'll also check for repairs and stuff as well. So, okay. Practice schedule. I had a question about how often should they practice, and how frequent, what do they need to be practicing every day? How can you track that? I say it depends on the student. If they're really struggling with something, it's just like school, practice more. If they're getting it, they could practice a little less, but you guys can be kind of the judge of that. But I recommend 15 to 20 minutes a day, but I know that's a lot. Sometimes it's hard to get all of homework and all events in 15 minutes, 20 minutes a day. So I would at least recommend half an hour every other day. And really it's just to sit down, go through each of their songs once or twice, and then they can be done. So I just recommend trying to get them to practice at least every other day, just so that kind of remains in their head. Consistency is key. Okay. Any questions on that? Let me know. Let's move on to now invoicing. So at the beginning of every month, I will send you a note or an invoice home with your kiddo. I'm debating on whether or not I'll do like an email system too, so that you get it straight, because I know things get lost sometimes between kids and parents. But let's see. Oh, I'll send that at the beginning of every month, and it will be for the entire month. So March I won't do until the beginning of April. April will include March's bill as well, but you'll get the April bill at the beginning of April, and you'll pay for every lesson of April's week. So say there's 4 weeks in April. I'm not sure how many there are. You'll get a bill for 4 weeks of lessons. And then you'll pay that. I mean, sometimes you forget the next lesson, so whatever. I mean, I'm not too much of a stickler. I'll find you. But you can pay that the next lesson. It's not like you have to write me a check right then and there. But a note will be sent home with the student, and then cash or check is preferred. But if Venmo or PayPal is easier, that we can do that as well. Let's talk about missing lessons now. So try to contact me a week ahead to reschedule a lesson. So say your Wednesday night got busy or something, you can't make your lesson, or you're on vacation on Tuesday, but you'll be back by Friday night. Send me a message. We'll try to move things around so that we can get you rescheduled. And that's really the only way to kind of keep your payment, because we pay at the beginning of the month. So I want to make sure that we can get your lessons in. Say you miss a week, but we could maybe do 2 lessons the next week. That way you're not just paying me money that is for nothing. So if you're gone for a whole week, then we'll try to do 2 lessons kind of spread out the next week, or we'll just miss 1 week. So okay, let's see. So missing lessons, invoicing, got all that. Summer lessons. There's a question about this on the form that I sent out. I highly recommend summer lessons. Obviously, like I'm going to say that no matter what, but I recommend them because I see that students lose a lot, and they don't retain as much, and we're basically starting over in the fall if they miss or they don't choose to do summer lessons. But I understand that people are vacationing, or they're gone for the summer. Maybe they go to dad's in the summer or something like that. So I understand that if you can't make summer lessons work, that's okay. I'll hold your spot over the summer, and your spot will be held until the fall. And if they don't resume in the fall, then that spot will open up to a new student. I do have a wait list of like 7 kids right now, so it's like high demand. So I will hold your spot over the summer, but if they don't return in the fall, then the spot will open to someone new. The new sign-up sheet for summer lessons will go out in May, so you don't have to keep the same spot. I would like to actually get lessons during the day if possible during the summertime, so it's not so much all at nighttime, but we'll get there, and we'll just see what works for you guys. So, okay, and the last thing I have on my list is recitals. So I like to do recitals, but it might take me a little bit to get everyone started. Otherwise, everyone's going to be in the same level. So I'm thinking our first recital, COVID pending, because large groups of people, will be next spring. And I usually do them in the spring for a couple reasons, because if a student doesn't take summer lessons, then we have a little while to kind of get them back on track and get something really practiced for a recital in the spring. But it's kind of a great way just to, invite grandpa and grandma. They can see kind of the progress they've made, and it's a good way to get them in front of people, because otherwise they're just practicing in front of family or just practicing in front of me. And so we want to kind of get them to practice in front of other people as well. Okay, that is all I had. I'm going to kind of open it up to you guys. If you have any questions for me. Oh, one other thing, I will send out my address. I realized I haven't sent that out yet. You guys need to know where you're going to drop off your kids. I'll send that out here soon. But does anyone else have questions for me?
I have a quick question.
Sure.
We're just wondering, as far as drop off goes, should we just drop him off and then he can come inside there and?
Yeah, I mean, next week, if you guys want to come in and say hi, totally come on in.
Yeah.
That's no problem. But if you just want to drop them off, my front door will be open. They can walk right in. If I am, just tell them if I am with another student, they can just come and sit on the couch that's right next to my piano, and they'll just wait quietly there until their lesson is done, and then we'll start them off. And if you have two students, two kiddos coming over, and you just want to drop them both off and they can wait on the couch, do homework or whatever while their sibling is having a lesson. So that is an option as well. They can just hang out.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. Any other questions?
I have a quick one about the books. So we've used the Faber thus far. And so does it correlate the same as far as levels go between those books and the ones that you currently are using?
So I'm not sure. I've only ever used Alfred's, and that's actually what I learned on too. But if they bring their previous books with them to their first lesson, I can kind of gauge which book they should be at based on their skill level. It's
So it's
basically
okay that he doesn't have the books that you want for the first lesson.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Just bring what he has, and we'll kind of gauge off of that. And then I'll recommend which books to kind of grab first. And I have a copy of all the books too. So say your student forgets their books, it happens. I know it sounds silly. They can use my books for that, lesson, and then they can go home and practice. But we can use those books, my books, right away for their first lesson. So. And to be honest, the first lesson is kind of just me getting to know them getting to know me and feel comfortable around me. And we'll talk over the piano, and that's kind of about it. This half an hour goes real quick the first lesson. So if they come home and they only know like what the white keys versus the black keys are, don't be surprised. They're not going to be Mozart after lesson 1. Any other questions? I don't want to keep you guys too long here. So if you think of any other questions, chime in now or send me an email or text, whatever. I'll be happy to answer. So.
I missed the first 5 minutes. I kind of joined at 6:35. So what I caught the billing, but I didn't catch what was prior to that.
Oh, sure. Okay. So it was practice schedule. I recommend practicing 15 to 20 minutes a day or half an hour every other day. Make sure you have a keyboard or a piano. So, and then tune your piano at least once a year. And then just make sure you have your books purchased before your lesson next week. And if you have any questions on that, let me know. That's kind of the gist of it.
Yeah, that's good.
Perfect. And I'm recording this and I will send it out again. So if you need to rewatch it or whatever, feel free to do that too. All right. Is that everything? Hopefully that's kind of a short and sweet and to the point. If you think of anything else, like I said, send me an email. I can't wait to meet your kiddos, and I'm just like really thankful for you guys too. So, and supporting them in their music careers. All right. Have a good night, everyone. I will meet you all next week.
Thank you.